So as I was filled with this absolute lovely vibration, right? I was like, it was pouring into me as quickly as it poured out. And that's the state of flow. And that's what I was being taught in that moment, right? Awakening to how people really don't see me. And it made me realize, like, my whole life, I wasn't ever afraid of being seen. It was always that I was afraid of being perceived. I don't like when people perceive me because they they judge and base things off of just one layer of something, and they don't actually dive any deeper. And people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves, right? So it was having people's perceptions of me be the blockage of me showing up and becoming my full authentic self. And so that was the thing that completely it was completely eradicated over this full moon space. Like, and it's a full moon in Capricorn, and I have 5 placements of Capricorn. So a stellium, right? So I'm being washed clean. So as I'm standing in this space and these people are giving me hugs and these trinkets and these, like, taking pictures with me, taking pictures of me, and I mean like hundreds of people. During the meditation, there was a couple. There was 2 girls. I don't know if they were a couple or they were just friends or whatever. It doesn't fucking matter, right? One of them was like leaned down, just sobbing, and she was squatting by the tree, and she was holding the tree with both hands, and her partner was like clearing out her third eye and her crown, and like rubbing down her arms and just holding space for her while she purged all of this stuff. And I kept turning to them, and I was like, "You're making room. You're making space. Like, you're clearing it all out, honey." So just allow yourself. And she was just like, every time she would look at me, she would just cry more. And it was so beautiful. And at one time, I put my hand on her partner's back, like right in her heart space, the back of her heart. And I said, support for support. And she just smiled at me and continued to support her person. And afterwards, she came to me and she said, "I could feel you holding space in this space." And I was called to come over to this tree intentionally because you were holding space here. And I could feel you. I could feel you holding space. And we all cried together, all 3 of us. I was just taken back by that. And her partner gave me the biggest hug and bawled her eyes out. She got to make space, and so it was just the most beautiful, magical fucking experience. And all from, months of waiting for validation from a person who actually didn't see me. And months of, just waiting. And I figured out that was the blockage. The blockage was that I was searching for this validation from a person who truly would never actually see me because they can't see themselves. How could they see me in a space, like this and not understand that I go to both places, right? I came from shadow and brought myself to the light. I can walk into shadow space unscathed, hold hands with another soul, and bring them right back out without fear. I'm not afraid to go there. I don't give a shit about that. You're not going to scare me. My demons work for me. My shadows work for me. I'm not afraid of that. What the fuck? Every time someone is like, you're afraid to look at yourself, you're afraid to look at your shadow, people are afraid of the dark, right? It's because they're afraid of that darkness, literally, inside of themselves. And it's because they are afraid to look at it. But what they don't realize, what they don't understand is that's just you. It's just you. It's pieces and parts of you that people have projected or told you, not to be. Don't be like that. Don't act like that. This is shameful. This is, you shouldn't. Just keep yourself in this tiny little box and then put it down, way far down. And, I'm not that. I'm not going to allow that to happen for you because there's nothing to be afraid of. There is nothing those pieces of you that feel like you should be ashamed of, honey, they need the most love. They need the most compassion. They need the most grace. And for you to continuously like abandon those parts of you is only going to make it worse. It's only going to make it hurt worse, and it's going to cause dis-ease or disease in your body, right? Because we're not able to express the resentment that we're holding, the anger that we're holding, the sadness, which is what's truly under anger, is sadness. You're not able to express the disappointment, the shame, like all of these shadow feelings that you feel, because it doesn't seem like it's love and light. It doesn't seem like you're allowed to, or someone made you feel a certain way about expressing these things. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what other people have said to you. These spaces are intentionally supposed to be healed. Like, that's why we come to Earth, to undo all of these programs and to remember that we are divine. we are divine beings that come into a body to help ascend all of these dark things, all of these shadow aspects of self, to pull back the fragments from all these different dimensions and layers of our whole self. Okay, we are all one being. As source, we are one being that are fragmented into all these little souls, so we can experience life, right? Source can experience life. And without being in these bodies, we have zero way to express, right? We just have the knowing, because we're just energy, right? We just have the knowing. So it's like telepathy and empathy. That's it. And then we come into these bodies so we can have art and music and dancing and laughter and joy and pain and sadness and anger and all of these ranges of emotions with and ways to express them. Right? It's just expression. Right? Otherwise we're just like energy. And we have the knowing. So really it's like numbness. We don't really get to express things. So we get to experience and express inside of these bodies. And it is safe, and you are loved, and you are supported in every way when you share space with me. I don't care if you fucking hate yourself. We're going to get to the bottom of that. Because you shouldn't feel that way about yourself, sweetie. I beat the shit out of somebody for less. Talking about my friend like that. You know what I mean? So it's just time. It's time for all of us to understand, like, I don't have to feel ashamed of whatever, right? I don't have to feel ashamed at all. Ever. I don't have to make myself smaller because someone told me to. I don't have to, sit in sadness, resentment, loneliness. We're not fucking alone. We're not alone. We are not alone. My whole life I thought I was alone. And then once I awakened to these things, I was like, holy shit, God placed these little angels in my life, my whole existence. When I was going through some of the deepest, darkest shit, there were angels there. Angels in a body. Angels not in a body, right? In just this angelic realm around me continuously. I have always been able to see people. Always. And people made me shut that down because they were afraid of what I would see. And people continuously throughout my life gaslit me, threw me under the bus, scapegoated, just like Cosmo. Just like April and Kyle. Instead of just owning the fact, hey, this was true. This was in my shadow. This was the thing. And just because it was purged doesn't mean that you have to follow those things. But it does mean that you have to take responsibility for what was inside of you. You can't just blame people. You can't. Because now we will no longer be friends. Now that I know that now that I know that you can't see me and can't meet me where I've met you. It's unfortunate. Because my heart is broken. That person, these people have broken my heart. All I ever want to do is be compassionate and graceful and hold space for whatever version of you that you need to be or that you are at the time. Because I know that that's not you. That one thing that I'm seeing, that you're seeing, that you're expressing, that one thing, that's not all of you. That is versions of you that are trying to be expressed and purged so you can pull back these other pieces of you that have been fragmented. And once we do that and we ascend, we get to choose a better timeline, a better life for ourselves. Better. Instead of going down this same fearful shadow space. No. And I will not allow other people to dictate or tell me that my intuition is wrong. No, it's not. It is never wrong. Never. Never. In fact, when I don't listen to it is when I get all of my lessons. I go through the same cycles over again. I get a lot of karma. And I'm ruled by Saturn times 5, motherfucker. Like, I have learned my lessons. I have done the work. And I'm not saying this from an egotistical perspective. You guys, I was sexually abused from the age of 3 years old. I was introduced to the darkness, the evil of the world at a very, very, very young age. And I had to get myself out of there. And it continued. I was adopted by a child molester. Okay? It continued. I made conscious choices at the age of 10 years old not to speak on what was happening to me because I didn't want to lose my siblings again. Okay? I have always been this person. And just because you get to see one version of me in one time, in one timeline, in one conversation, doesn't mean that you get to dictate who the fuck I am. It doesn't mean that you know who I am. Because you would have had to lived and walked in my shoes to understand where the fuck I am and who the hell I am. And you will never get a chance to do that. Most people don't make it out of what the fuck I've been through. And so I was sharing these stories, with these Conscious Alliance people, and some of them have only been on their journey for like a year. And, just now coming to, the remembrance place. I remember who the fuck I am. I remember why I came here. I know what my contracts are. I know. I have access to the Akashic records at all times because I remember. And so my intention of being here, my contracts of being here are to help people take that shadow space and bring it to the light. That is it. And it doesn't matter what other people think, what other people believe about me, what other people say about me, what they project onto me. I know who I am and where I'm going. And that was the awakening that I had. And it was absolutely magical. I wouldn't trade. And I had zero substance. It was just, I allowed Spirit to work its magic in my life. I have been working on, over the last year and a half, giving up control. Like, I'm fucking human, and I'm going to be learning lessons and having these cycles, you know what I mean? Like, forever, until I die. Like, it doesn't even end when you die. You have a choice to, like, come back and do the shit again. But I would like to pull in all of the fragments that I can while I'm here. Right now. When you heal yourself, you heal 7 generations before and after you. I will do the work, baby. My children do not deserve to, I don't want them to have to do this work. It hurts sometimes, you know? I don't want them to have to do this work. I would want my mother, right? She has been abused in her entire life, dude. I want my mother to feel safe in her body, in her mind, in her heart space. This is who I am. This is why I do the work. I have a Libra moon, y'all. Like, Libras are the most gentle and kind people ever. Soft people. As long as you're soft to them. Otherwise, they're just gonna, they're the scales. If it's tipped a little bit too much, they're gonna remind you. They're gonna let you know. This is not justified. This is not valid. This is not good, And that's just who I am. Just is. And so, I will no longer be keeping quiet for people, keeping secrets for people, allowing them to be my scapegoated. No. Nope. I'm not going to be scapegoated. You're not going to allow, you're not going to do that to me. I'm not going to allow you to think that you're in the right. Because you're not. And I was reminded that complete strangers can see you better than people who have been in your life for years. And that no matter where I am intentional. I am intended to be there. The more in flow I become, the more connected to God I become, the easier and more magical my life becomes. I don't need to control the situations, and that's the one thing, that control comes from fear. And I'm not fearful. I know, without a shadow of a doubt, that everything is happening for me and my highest good. And so now I get to open myself up to true, actual, honest, devoted, committed love to myself, to spirit. And because of those two relationships, I can now do it without. As within, so without. So I can hold my loved ones in a better space. I can allow them to actually hold me. And when you just allow and let flow happen, your life will be so much more magical. You'll get to see the work of God and how God can create wonders, things that are beyond your comprehension, even to describe to others is difficult, because that's the point of magic, right? So that was my experience, and I will continue down this path and working with others and allowing spirit to just move through me, work through me and allow the flow. And I've been shown a lot of times that people don't actually see me, and that's okay, because I do, and I believe in me. And just because people perceive me one way doesn't mean that that's me. I know who I am. I'm divine, just like you. All of us. If you're having trouble remembering, come talk to me. We'll get you there. I'll help you. I love you guys so much. And as they say at the forest, plur. Peace, love, unity, respect. Oh, one more thing before I forget. So during that conversation with Cosmo, right, and the girl that gave me the necklace, I get back to my tent and I'm getting all my stuff off and I'm like, oh my God, give me my pajamas. The necklace, it said, what an auspicious sign. And holy fuck, did I ever, I was like, I need to find this bitch. I need to find her. I need to find her. She needs to hear this. She needs to hear this story. Because what an auspicious sign that she brought right at it. God intentionally was like, nope, redirect, redirect, redirect. Look at the love. Like at the exact same time, this person is judging and this person is also judging, but from two separate spaces. Fuck. You can't tell me that's not magical. As fuck. Whew. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my story, my awakening. I hope you've learned something from it. I hope, you can hold space for yourself with more grace and you can not allow people to tell you who the fuck you are. Because they really don't know. People get intimidated. And I really like that. You should be a little intimidated. But don't be scared. Courage. It takes courage to grow. And intimidation, you got to kind of like, whoop, step over that little bit of something to get to the healing part. And if you don't get there, you don't get there. And then you just do it again. And you do the cycle. And you just live your life. But you don't have to be scared. All those pieces are just you. Waiting to be loved and seen and guided and held and have compassion. Yeah. So, thank you for listening and being here and choosing. You have chosen to go through every single thing that you go through. It's always for you. Even if it doesn't feel good, it's still for you. Thank you for choosing a life here. Choosing this path. Choosing to do the work. It is sacred. You are sacred. You are divine. You are loved, cherished, and honored. I love you. We'll talk soon.